Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Demetrix Rare Access series. My name is Justin Tyler, and today we're joined by Melissa Netwal, scientist in the strain engineering team. Thanks for joining us, Melissa.
Hi, Justin. Thank you for having me.
So, Melissa, would you just mind starting out and letting everybody know your background and current role here at Demetrix?
Sure. So in undergrad, I studied molecular and plant biology, which was a really wild introduction to the world of synbio. And then I moved to California to accept a position at another biotech company down the street from here. And there I kind of got a crash course in industry, really. It was an incredible experience. I worked anywhere from scaling processes and optimization to an internal R&D group where I got to do like academic science with an industry budget, which was super fun. And then I also worked on an enzymology team there. And then in 2020, I joined Demetrix because I kind of wanted to go back to a smaller company. And I'm on the strain engineering team, and it's been a ton of fun for the past couple of years here.
And so in your team is strain engineering at Demetrix, what are some of the main goals and objectives that you guys are working towards?
Sure. So the strain engineering team at Demetrix engineers strains. Some of our main objectives are increasing the titers for our target molecules in any of our programs, and that is, to build a strain to scale up to industrial size fermentation. And so we do that through a couple of different means. There's the rational builds where you're really targeting, your known pathway, and then there's kind of a semi-rational approach where you're building libraries of different sorts. Those can be enzyme engineering libraries, or those can be libraries where you're just randomly introducing diversity so that you're able to explore a space without having to rationally stack mutations. So that's two of the things that strain engineering does.
Awesome. And so do you have, any projects of interest lately that you're working on right now that kind of is keeping you busy and, what's going on for you right now?
Yeah. So within strain engineering, I actually lead the library core capability. Currently, I am a team of one. However, I work super cross-functionally with a bunch of other teams at Demetrix. So the reason that we built out this capability is to kind of centralize the work so that program leads don't have to have the activation energy or do all of this work up front. And that leaves them more time to organize rational builds or activities across other teams. And like I said before, that can encompass enzyme engineering libraries where more specifically, a lot of the enzymes that we are expressing in our Saccharomyces strains are actually from other species. Specifically, quite a few of them come from a plant species. And so the context that they're expressed in natively is wildly different than the one that they are expressed in when we're running these fermentation processes. So there's oftentimes a lot of room to improve those enzymes for our purposes. And like I said, the other half of that is kind of generating a large swath of diversity at one time into a strain rather than having to laboriously stack mutation by mutation. That would take a ton of time. And so we're kind of able to just explore a lot of diversity in a single shot.
So, Melissa, it sounds like in your day-to-day, you interact with a lot of different teams. What are some of these groups that you find yourself working with?
Yeah, so I work quite a bit with DNA ops. They've been really important in kind of building out the infrastructure for the library core capability. So I've gotten to work with a lot of scientists on their team. I also work quite a bit with HTPE in order to develop and optimize. This work is done on their end. I just give input and provide context for what we're looking for. But for the screening for these library capabilities, we need to screen a ton of strains. And so they've been really great in building us plate models that actually are predictive of tank performance, which is lovely. The other team that we work quite a bit with is lab services, of course. They support a lot of our needs. And then within strain engineering itself, I get to work really closely with all the program leads to determine and prioritize, to determine what kind of libraries that they want to proceed with, but also kind of prioritize across the different programs. And that is a lot of work with kind of our leadership team as well.
So wrapping up here, Melissa, I just wanted to hear from you. What are some of your favorite things that you like about working at Demetrix?
Yeah. The first thing that pops into mind is actually what we kind of just were talking about in terms of how collaborative the environment is. It's actually been pretty wild to see how much the groups interact. I've worked in other contexts where the strain engineers never talk to a fermentation engineer, and that's just not the case at Demetrix. We have meetings together to try to problem solve the different characteristics that the fermentation engineers in upstream processing are seeing in their fermentation tanks, and like asking strain engineers, what do you think this could be, and vice versa. We're seeing this in tanks. Is there anything that you think that we could potentially change or do in our strains to stabilize them? And then also seeing a lot of information from our commercial team. So the work that is being done at a larger scale in Europe, for instance, we get to see a lot of that information, a lot of that data. We also get to see a lot of information from downstream processing, which I've never had any real touch points in. And so it's been a lot of just being able to, in the last couple of years anyway, just being able to kind of absorb a lot of information that I just don't think a lot of other people get the opportunity to do, because like you said before, sometimes people just get siloed in groups, and that's just not the case at Demetrix. And it's really cool to be a part of.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like this, collaboration, may, be in part to, what we've seen with a lot of our success, commercially, and, just that information kind of passing between groups. It really, helps everybody in their job, and it kind of helps the group kind of move forward.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you joining us, Melissa. My name is Justin for the Rare Access series, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks, Melissa.
Thank you.